So let's start the biggest paper of ACCA. The biggest paper of ACCA, that is SBL, stands for Strategic Business Leader. SBL stands for Strategic Business Leader. By looking at the name of the paper, Strategic Business Leader, what could be this paper? What comes to your mind by looking just at the name of the paper?
It's how to prepare strategy,
How to prepare strategy is good.
become a leader in your business.
To become leader in the organization. What else? Yes. By looking at name of the paper, what comes to your mind? What this paper could be?
I think it's the like leading strategy for business.
Leader strategies for business. If we look at ACCA, other papers, except this. If we look at other papers, like from performance management is about accounting, then tax, then financial reporting, then audit, then financial management. And then after this paper, SBR again accounting. If we move towards optional paper, they are all about accounting, auditing, tax. Me, by excluding this paper, all the papers are relating to a specific skills of accounting, taxation, or auditing. In ACCA, other paper are putting some skills relating to accounting, taxation, and auditing only. There is no paper in ACCA that is building some leadership skills in the ACCA paper. Because to work at management of the organization, we need some leadership skills. And except this paper, there is no paper other who is building some leadership skills in ACCA members. So this paper is especially designed so that ACCA people can move towards the top management of the organization. Because through this, they will be able to having some leadership skills. Leadership skills mean planning skills, strategy making skills, so that they can work at a top level management. Mean mainly to build some leadership skills in ACCA paper. If we look at management level, there are three levels of management. One is a strategic level, other is a tactical level, and the third one is operational level. Might be you have studied this before. Strategic level, where top management is involved. What they do? They are involved in long-term planning, long-term strategy making of the business. Mean they prepare 5 year or more planning. Tactical level, middle management, where managers are involved. And at technical level, they prepare short-term plan. Short-term plan mean up to 1 year plan, mean they prepare budget for the organization. If we look at operation level, that is lower management, supervisory management, where they prepare day-to-day plan or they perform activities as per the management direction. All other paper of ACCA are developing skills at these two levels. Through this paper, ACCA want to build some skills of strategic level into ACCA people, ACCA member, so that they can work at a top management level. I mean, without this paper, we will not be having skills to work at strategic level. I mean, this paper is about strategic level. I mean, through this paper, we will learn some strategic level skills. We will learn some strategic level concept that we can use, that we can apply at the strategic level. I mean, this paper will bring ACCA people equivalent to MBA. MBA, Master in Business Administration. And normally organizations prefer MBAs at top management. And the reason behind including this paper in ACCA so that ACCA paper should also be preferred at the top management. They should not work only at tactical or operation level. They should also be having some opportunities at strategic level, mean top management. So you got some idea what this paper is about, why this paper is there. If we look at the history of this paper, about 6 years back, there were total 14 papers in our ACCA. Mean to become ACCA, we need to pass 14 paper. Now we need to pass 13 paper, but 6 years back, there were 14 papers. Initial 9 paper, same. At professional level, nowadays we need to pass 4 paper. But 6 years back, at professional level, there were 5 papers to pass. I mean, instead of SBL, there were 2 other paper. One was P1 and other was P3. In professional level paper 1 and professional level paper 3. Professional level paper 2 was SBR, that is already there. What was P1 paper? The name of P1 paper was Governance, Risk and Ethics. And the name of paper P3 was Business Analysis. What was this? Governance, Risk and Ethics. Governance mean corporate governance. There were 6-7 chapters on corporate governance. Risk mean internal control system, risk management system for the business. There were 4 chapters of risk. Ethics mean codes of ethics, threats on independence, and some ethical theories. There were 4 chapters of ethics. And the P3 paper was business analysis. Business analysis mean this was about strategy making, about long-term planning of the business. What ACCA did? They combined 100% syllabus of P1 and P3. Along with them, they added some theories relating to leadership. Mean they added one more chapter relating to leadership and they name it SB. Nothing was removed relating to P1, nothing was removed relating to P3. Instead, both were added. Even they added some extra material to make it a single paper strategic business leader. That's why this is a biggest paper of ACCA. And now we need to pass 13 papers of ACCA. 1 year back, the exam time for this paper was 4 hours. And this was the only paper where the exam time was 4 hours. Meaning 4 hours you need to complete the paper. Now this paper exam time is as per other paper 3 hours and 15 minutes. Why 4 hours? Because in this paper, there is only one question that we need to attempt.
Only one question.
Only one question we need to attempt in this paper. Like for other papers of professional level, there are 3 questions, 150 marks case study and 225 marks question. In this paper, there will be one question, mean 100 mark case study. Even if you look at other paper, if there is 50 marks case study, there are 2-3 requirements. So for this 100 marks case study, there will be 6-7 requirements. But the case study will be longer, might be 6 to 7 pages longer. And to read 6 to 7 pages require more time. That's why previously, 1 year back, the time for this paper was 4 hours. 1 hour for reading time and 3 hours for writing. Because the case study is too long, 6 to 7 pages long. So it required time to read it, to understand it. So that's why examiner were providing 4 hours for this paper. But now they have changed the time to 3 hours and 15 minutes. So how we can read the case study in 15 minutes now? Now they are saying 2 weeks before your exam. 2 weeks before exam, the case study will be provided to you. Not the requirements, only the information about the company that will be provided to you. So that before moving to the exam, you will be having knowledge about the company, you will be having knowledge about the case study that is going to be tested in your paper. The requirements you will see in the paper, in the exam center. But the story behind those requirements, the company, the company data, the company information, that will be provided 2 weeks before the exam as a pre-scene. Pre-scene will be provided 2 weeks before the exam. How they will provide? They will send you through email. This is the pre-scene for this paper. So that during 2 weeks, you can study the case study, the company information. Even you can find information about the company from Google, from industry, because this paper is based on real scenario case studies. They pick some real company from the industry, they change the name, and they provided similar information in the exam paper along with different requirements. And companies are having different nature, and students were struggling because they are not aware about the knowledge about different industries. So now examiner providing the company information 2 weeks before the exam so that you can take some knowledge about the company, about its industries, about its business and nature, so that while moving to the exam, you must be having some knowledge about the company industry, company nature. So this is our paper SBL. Why paper is there? How it was developed? And what will be our exam paper? There will be one question, one big case study, having 6 to 7 different requirements that we need to deal with. So we will start our syllabus from this area. Then we will move towards this area. During covering the syllabus, we will cover some small case studies. We'll cover some 25 marks case studies. We will cover some 50 marks case studies. And after completing the syllabus, we'll be able to cover 100 marks case studies. In that end of syllabus, we will cover about 7 to 8 different 100 marks case studies. And then we will be fully prepared to attempt this paper. This is a big paper. That's why we are going to start a 6-month session. For other paper, normally we can cover in 3 months. As the syllabus is more for this paper, so we are going to start 6-month session. In 3 months, we can cover but 2 classes in a week. So we are conducting 1 class in a week. So that we can cover normally in 6 months. Because we need to practice more and more questions, more and more case studies to build our knowledge. So this is about the paper exam. Now let's start SBL. So we are going to start from an area called corporate governance. What is meant by corporate governance? What is meant by corporate governance?
Corporate governance means how to make a policy for a company, organizations, and
Hmm?
to look after that be not harmful to society and others.
You can say little bit. What is corporate governance? Corporate governance means some rules, some policies that company need to follow. So what is corporate governance? A system by which companies are a system by which companies are directed and controlled. What's corporate governance? A system. A system means there are some rules, there are some codes that being a company, being a listed company, we need to follow. And those codes, those rules will guide the company how we can run our business in a better way, how we can control our business in better. For every listed company, it is compulsory they need to follow corporate governance codes, mean rules. For every listed company, it is compulsory they need to follow corporate governance codes. Who define these corporate governance codes? Stock exchange. If you are listed on any stock exchange will provide you a set of rules that you need to follow. That set of rules, codes we need to follow is called corporate governance. And if you follow those corporate governance codes, your listing will be maintained. If you do not follow, your listing will be cancelled. Mean through this, stock exchange can control your business. Stock exchange can monitor your organization. Even these codes will provide you a guidance about how you can manage, how you can run your company in best way. So what is corporate governance? A system by which companies are directed and controlled. Who define this system? Stock exchange. 5. Why we need to follow this code? Why we need to follow these rules?
Trust the public,
To protect,
protect the trust of public.
to protect the investment of shareholders. In these codes will provide you guidance how you can manage the business in the best way. And if you are following these codes, shareholders will be having a confidence like company is following some rules by the stock exchange. This mean my investment in this business is secure, mean protected. They will make investment in the company. If company is not following any rules, they will be having no confidence that their investment is protected, secure.
So this can be like there is a scope for governance.
The purpose to provide a confidence to the shareholder that their investment is protected in the company. Because they are following rules and those rules are monitored by stock exchange. Not only shareholder, these corporate governance code provide a confidence to other stakeholder as well. That companies also ensuring their interest, their best as well. So the other purpose to ensure interest of other stakeholder as well. While making a decision, company need to consider best for all the stakeholder. Company should not consider best for themselves only, mean they should not make a decision in self-interest. They need to consider interest of all the stakeholder, best for all the stakeholder. How company can consider best for all the stakeholder? These corporate governance code will provide you guidance. If you make a decision like these are including these people in the decision making, you will be checking about best for all the stakeholders. Mean through corporate governance codes, other stakeholder like customer, supplier, bank, government, they will also be having a confidence. Yes, companies are following our codes, they are considering our interest. This means we can make a long-term relationship with the company. We can have a long-term relationship with the company. So what is corporate governance? A system by which companies are directed and controlled. Who define stock exchange? Why? To provide a confidence to the shareholder that their investment in the company is protected, and to provide a confidence to other stakeholders that company is ensuring their interest as well. So we got some knowledge what is corporate governance and why is that. What is corporate governance? A system by which companies are directed and controlled. System means there are some codes. There are some rules that company need to follow. What are those rules or codes? Now we need to learn them. Because examiner provide us information about the company is doing this, and ask as a requirement, identify where company is not following corporate governance code.
Identify.
Where company is not following corporate governance code. So we need to know about what are the corporate governance code that company need to follow. So we are moving towards learning corporate governance codes. But before moving towards corporate governance code, let's discuss about the structure of the company. In a company, there is a chairman, under chairman there is a CEO, chief executive officer, also called managing director. Under CEO there is board of directors. BOD stands for board of directors. And in board of directors, there are two types of directors. EDs mean executive directors, and NEDs mean non-executive directors. So in a company, there is a chairman, there is a CEO, and under them, there is board of directors, including executive as well as non-executive directors. What is the difference between executive directors and non-executive directors?
Executive director means take actively part in a company's management, and non-executive directors they don't take actively part.
So what do they do?
They are appointed by some institution or by government
Why they are there? What do they do in the company?
to check that the operations of company are in a public.
To some extent, it's right. Executive directors are full-time employee of the company, and they are involved in a day-to-day running of operation of the business. Full-time employee of the company, and they are involved in full-time running of operation of the business. Non-executive directors are part-timer, not employee, because employee word is used for full-timer. So they are part-timer. They are involved in only strategy making, decision making of the company, not in day-to-day operation. They are involved only in strategy making and decision making of the company.
And work value on.
Strategy making, decision making of the company. In fact, these non-executive directors are some experienced people who has served in the industry as a executive director in the past. Now they are sharing their knowledge and experience in strategy making of the company, so that company can make best strategies by using their knowledge and experience. So executive directors are full-time employee of the company. They are involved in day-to-day running of operation of the business. Non-executive directors are part-timer, and they are sharing their knowledge and experience in strategy making and decision making of the company. Are you with me? Executive directors pay, mean remuneration, include fixed salary as well as some performance related pay. Performance related pay mean bonus. that will be achieved by meeting certain targets. And if company is not meeting that target, they sometimes involves in short-termism self-interest strategies so that current year profit should be high so that we can get our bonus. So executive director full-time employee involved in day-to-day running operation of the business, and they involve themselves sometime in short-termism self-interest strategies. Mean they consider conflict of interest. They involved in conflict of interest. Mean they consider their best rather than company best, just to get their bonus. Non-executive director are part-timer, and their remuneration do not include any fixed salary or bonus element. They are working on hourly basis, and on hourly basis they are charging a per hour fee. That is according to industry average. There is no performance related element in bonus in their salaries. And what they do, they challenge short-termism, self-interest strategies of executive directors. Because for a company, long-term strategies are more beneficial rather than short. The reason why non-executive directors are there, so that they can contribute their experience in strategy making, so that they can challenge, mean they can avoid short-termism strategies of executive directors. Mean they are having some kind of monitoring element on the executive director to avoid any conflict of interest. They encourage executive director to consider best for the company rather than best for yourself. So we got some idea who are executive, who are non-executive, why non-executive directors are there. They share their experience in strategy making, and they challenge short-termism, self-interest strategies of executive directors. So this is the structure of the company. In company, there is a chairman, there is a CEO, and there is board of director. In board of director, we are having executive, non-executive. Who are they? We got some out. Now we are moving towards corporate governance codes. Who define corporate governance codes? Stock exchange. And every country is having separate stock exchange. This means these codes could be different country to country. But we need to learn the codes of any of the stock exchange. As we are studying ACCA, where it based? UK. So we are going to study UK stock exchange code. Even in other part of the world, 90% codes are similar. The name of UK stock exchange codes is UK corporate governance codes, UK combined codes. On corporate governance. So we are going to study UK combined codes on corporate governance, mean UK stock exchange code. The set of UK stock exchange codes, the name of that set is UK combined code on corporate governance. So the first code, according to corporate governance codes, non-executive directors should be independent. As per corporate governance codes, non-executive directors should be independent. What does that mean, independent?
You should never.
They should not be having any other interest in the company except their hourly pay. So that they can make a decision in best interest of the company rather than self-interest. To avoid any conflict of interest, they should be independent. These are the independent voice at board level. They should not be shareholder of the company. Otherwise, they will consider best for shareholder rather than best for company. Is that shareholder best and company best is same or different? They should not be shareholder of the company. If they are shareholder, they will consider best for shareholder rather than best for company. What's the difference between best for shareholder, best for company is the same thing in it or different?
Different.
Different how?
Like that sometimes the company needs funds.
Yeah.
for development and expansion. But if you're looking for the shareholder part, shareholder needs more dividend.
Company need to retain some profit to face uncertain future events. If they are shareholder, they will try to pay all the profit as a dividend. They will not consider best for the company. They will consider best for themselves. That's why they should not be shareholder of the company. Otherwise, they will not be independent. They should not be having performance related pay. Performance related pay mean bonus element in their pay. Otherwise, they will also be involved in short-termism strategies of the executive director. They will not be able to challenge them because their interest will align with each other. They should not be having a close relation with executive directors. In either family relations or close friendly relation.
It's like they are.
Because if they are having close relation with executive director, they will not challenging their short-termism strategies. They will favor them. Mean they will not be independent. They will not be fair. They should not be employee of the company, not only current, even in the last 5 years. Because even if they were employee in the company in last 5 years, this means they were working with executive directors or under them. So now they will not be able to challenge it. They will challenge either too much if they were working under them, or if they were working at the same level of executive director, they will not be challenging, they will providing them favor. In last 3 years, they should not be having any trading relation with the company. Trading relation means they should not be customer, they should not be supplier of the company. Otherwise, they might be affecting their independence, because if they are having trading relation, this means they know company management, company managers, directors, so might be their independence could be affected. To maintain their independence, a non-executive director should not be non-executive director in a company for more than 9 years. In last 9 years, they should not be non-executive directors in our company, because after 9 years, we need to change the non-executive director. As per auditor, there is code of 5 years.
Like they are auditors as well.
Yeah, for auditor, it's 5 years, but for non-executive director, it's 9 years.
And,
They should be changed.
and the close relation, all is like.
So first code of corporate governance is that non-executive director should be independent, where their independence will be affected if they are shareholder of the company, if they are having performance related pay, if they are having close relation with executive director, if in last 5 years they were employee of the company, if in last 3 years they were having trading relation with the company, if they are non-executive director in the company in last 9 years. After 9 years, they should be non-executive director independence will be affected if there is any cross directorship issue. Cross directorship should not be there. What does mean by cross directorship? Let's discuss. Suppose there are two companies. One company name is ABC company, and other company name is XYZ company. ABC and XYZ. There are two persons. One person name is Mr. X, other person name is Mr. Y. Mr. Shu and Mr. G. There are two persons, Mr. Shu and Mr. G. Suppose this Mr. Shu is executive director in a ABC company, and as a part-timer on weekend basis, he is working as a non-executive director in XYZ company. One director can work as a director in more than one companies. There is no restriction. In fact, these non-executive director are at the same time might be having non-executive directorship in more than 5, 6 companies
And couples will be.
because they are part-timer, they are not full-timer. So they can manage that. Mr. G is a non-executive director in a ABC company and executive director in XYZ company. So what's the issue there? Mr. Shu challenged Mr. G in XYZ company. And Mr. Shu challenged by Mr. G in ABC company. So what will happen? You give me favor here, I give you favor there. This is called cross directorship. Mean you should not be having a colleague relation with the executive director in any other company, even. Not in this company, you should not be having any colleague relation with any other company. If there is a having colleague relationship, your independence will be affected. This is called cross directorship. Can you understand this?
So,
If one non-executive director challenging executive director in this company, but he is challenged by this director in other company, so this is called cross directorship.
so director should avoid this.
Avoid this. If there is any cross directorship, obviously non-executive director is not independent. They should be independent. They need to maintain their independence. If they are not independent, they should resign from this company.
Just like audit.
They should resign from this. So we have covered first code of corporate governance codes, that is non-executive director should be independent. Now we are moving towards second code. The second code says in a company, there should be at least half of the directors as a non-executive directors. Mean board should be balanced. In at least half, not half, at least half of the directors should be non-executive directors. If a company is having 10 directors, how many should be non-executive?
Minimum 5.
5. If a company is having 7 directors, how many should be non-executive? 4. At least half. If more, better. But should not be lesser than executive director. Why? Because in a company, while making a decision, both executive, non-executive decide mutually. How they decide? By voting. If executive are more, their votes will be more. So they can impose their short-termism strategies on non-executive. If non-executive are at least equal or more, they can properly challenge their short-termism strategies. Otherwise, short-termism strategies will not be avoided if they are lesser than.
So non-executive should not be
lesser than executive. They should be equal or at least equal. To avoid short-termism strategies, to challenge their short-termism strategies properly. Can you understand this? So we have discussed 2 codes. First, non-executive directors should be independent. And second, there should at least half non-executive directors. Now we are moving towards the third code. According to corporate governance code, Mr. Chairman and CEO should be separate person. One person should not be having both the position of chairman and CEO. If one person is having both of these top position, he will be having his dominance in the company. He will be having unfettered powers of decisions. Unfettered powers of decisions. Unfettered mean unchallengeable powers of decisions, mean his decision will not be challenged. If his decision will not be challenged by anybody because he's having dominant position, he will run the company in his personal way. He will consider self-interest. So that's why the top two position will be having of separate person. Chairman and CEO should be separate. And their roles are different as well. The chairman role is to run the board. Board mean board of director. The chairman role is to run the board. Board mean board of director. Mean he need to see whether executive, non-executive directors are making decision properly, whether non-executive directors are challenging their short-termism strategy properly or not. He need to run the board, whether they are making a decision by having regular meetings or not. The role of CEO, managing director, is to run the company. Not the board, is to run the company. Mean he is responsible for company transactions. He is responsible for creating a relation with customer, supplier, bank, shareholder, etc. And it is necessary for a chairman, he should be independent non-executive director, mean leader of non-executive director. While CEO, chief executive officer, he is normally a leader of whom executive director. And if both of these position is having of single person, so he might be executive director. So this executive director dominance will be there. So to avoid the dominance of any single person or group of person, chairman, CEO should be separate person, and chairman should be independent, non-executive director. And to avoid the dominance of any single group, at least half of the board should be non-executive directors, independent non-executive director to consider best for the company. So we have learned three codes.
So the,
Non-executive director should be independent. Mean these things should not be associated with non-executive director, otherwise their independence will be threatened. Mean these are threats on non-executive director independence. And at least half director should be non-executive, and chairman and CEO should be separate person. And for a chairman, it is necessary he should be independent, non-executive director.
so you understand?
This is the code. They are saying separate person mean cannot be the same.
So the role of the executive directors is like they are working in.
But they are full-time employee of the company. They are involved in day-to-day operation of business.
The interest.
Okay, the fourth code. Executive directors. Executive directors should be reappointed every 3 years. As per UK corporate governance codes, and executive directors can be appointed in a company for a term of 3 years. After 3 years, he will retire, and shareholder will see whether he is performing better. They will reappoint him. Otherwise, he will be removed from the company. Executive director should be reappointed every 3 years as per UK corporate governance codes. Why? Why this code is there? If any of the executive director is not performing well, so company can maximum afford this director for 3 years. After 3 years, it will be automatically kicked off by the shareholder. If this code is not there, might be underperformer, executive directors are still working in the company and doing nothing for the company. Company will be paying them unnecessarily, paying them unnecessarily.
So automatically has to be reappointed every 3 years.
Every 3 years. Mean director, executive director contract should be for 3 years. After 3 years, company will see whether we need him. He will be reappointed by the shareholder at AGM. Otherwise, he will be removed.
So he can be reappointed in the same company.
Yeah, in the same position. If he is performing well, and normally executive directors work for life in a company. They work for 30, 40 years even in a company. If they are performing better.
So they have been like reappointed.
Reappointment mean executive director need to be retired after 3 years. In his contract will be completed. So shareholder will see whether they need to be reappointed or removed.
And yes, it's fine.
But every 3 years, that process should be there. So we have discussed 4 codes of corporate governance. Now we are moving towards 5th code of corporate governance. That is what? Board should meet regularly. Mean there should be regular meeting of directors. Regular mean, what does mean by regular? Say monthly basis. It should not be like they are having a meeting once in a year. No. Because nowadays industry market have changed. Due to IT technology, new things coming too quickly into the industry. And those business are surviving who adopt new technology before competitor. And to adopt new technology before competitor, you should be having discussion with them so that you can adopt new things quickly. So that's why board meeting should be on regular basis. Regular basis is not defined. What is regular basis? Say on monthly basis. And these meetings should be formal, not informal, formal. Mean whatever you are discussing during the meeting, that should be written down. Mean minutes of the meeting should be written down. So that if any of the director is absent at the meeting, through minutes, he will be aware, okay, what decision have been made at the meeting, what discussion were made at the meeting. If there are no minutes, absent member will not be able to aware what was discussed. And before calling the meeting, the agenda of the meeting must be defined. Mean for what purpose we are going to conduct the meeting. The purpose of meeting must be communicated with the invitation so that every member attend the meeting with a preset mind. Okay, we need to discuss this. So that if they are having a preset mind, we can resolve issues on a single meeting. If the agenda is not communicated, they are going to aware, okay, why this meeting was called during the meeting. So might be that issue will prevail in next to next meeting. This will create delay in decision making. So as per corporate governance codes, board should meet regularly. Meeting should be formal. Minutes of the meeting should be recorded and agenda of the meeting must be defined before the meeting. And who is responsible for this? Company chairman's responsibility is this. He should ensure minutes of the meetings are properly recorded. He should ensure agenda of the meeting is communicated with the notice period. And he should chair all the board meeting to ensure all members are there. As per corporate governance code, board should meet regularly. Those meetings should be formal. Agenda of the meeting should be specified and minutes of the meeting should be recorded so that absent members can be made aware of the decision.
Social insurance.
Next, 6th code. As per corporate governance codes, company management mean directors, all directors having a responsibility should implement internal control system in the business. What is meant by internal control system? Policies, procedures, rules. Mean they should establish a system in the company. They should establish some rules in the company, policies in the company against which everything will work in the company. If there is no system, you cannot manage, you cannot control the company. You cannot control the behavior of employees. You cannot avoid fraud and errors in the company. So to avoid fraud and error, they should implement internal control system in the company. Not only they should implement internal control system in the company, they should review internal control system of the company. see whether internal control system is working effectively or not, whether everybody is following policies or not. And it's better to review the internal control system, they should appoint internal auditor in the company. Who is internal auditor?
The auditor that was making.
Employee of the company that is appointed by company management. Why? To review internal control system. So that if there is any weakness in internal control system, he will highlight to the management to make it strong. If management can review internal control system by themselves, fine. No need of internal auditor. Internal auditor is not compulsory. But it's better they should appoint internal auditor. If there is no internal auditor, they need to justify who is reviewing internal control system. Why you don't have internal auditor?
So the job of internal auditor is only to review the.
Internal control system. External auditor that who
Yes.
sign audit report on financial statement.
Yes.
Internal auditor is company management employee whose work is to review the internal control system. So moving towards the seventh code. Company management director should communicate, should have communication with shareholders. And you are managing the company of whom shareholder. So you should be having a communication with the shareholder how you are managing their company. And once in a year, you must be having communication with the shareholder. Where? At AGM. Conduct an AGM once in a year, annual general meeting, where you present annual reports to the shareholder and you call the shareholder so that if they are having any concern, they can discuss directly. Auditor will be there, all directors will be there. If they are having any concern, they can discuss directly. You need to present annual reports of the company to the shareholder to communicate company matters with them because they are the owner. You need to resolve their concern. You need to keep them happy. If they are not happy, you will not be there. They will dismiss you. They will not reappoint you. They will kick you out. So you need to have good communication with the shareholder, and at least once in a year, it should be there at AGM. So we have discussed some corporate governance codes. Non-executive director should be independent so that they can consider best for the company. At least half of the directors should be non-executive directors so that they can challenge short-termism strategies. Chairman CEO should be separate person. Why? To avoid dominance of single person and to avoid unfettered powers of decision making. Executive director should be reappointed every 3 years so that company can kick out non-performer director after 3 years. And this will be forcing the executive director to prove their performance, to provide their performance, because they will be having a threat. If we don't perform, we will be kicked out after 3 years. So through this, company can achieve their performance. And then board should meet regularly. Those meetings should be formal. Agenda of meeting should be set, and minutes of the meeting should be recorded. Board should implement the internal control system in the company. Not only implement, they should review internal control system in the company, and to review, they should appoint internal auditor. And board should have regular communication with the shareholder at least once in a year at AGM.
So sir, during the exam, you might answer to this.
We will see how they will ask. First get the knowledge, then we will see how examiner will ask in a question. We'll practice everything.
Can we get this recording?
This recording is available on Team. I'm recording on Teams.
You are recording now?
Yeah. So let's move forward. We are discussing corporate governance codes. As per corporate governance codes, there should be board committees in a company. Board mean board of directors. Mean directors should be having four type of committees in the company. Mean they need to perform their role by sitting in four type of committees. What are the board committees? Directors should be having a nomination committee, remuneration committee, audit committee, and risk committee. So as per corporate governance codes, board should be having four type of committees in the company: nomination committee, remuneration committee, audit committee, and risk committee. These three: nomination, remuneration, and audit committee, these are compulsory, must be there. Risk committee is optional. If they are having, it's better. But if there is no risk committee, its role must be performed. Then who will perform the role of risk committee? If there is no separate risk committee, audit committee will perform its role.
So the first three are compulsory.
First three are compulsory. Now we're gonna discuss who could be the member of these committees and what are their roles. The member of nomination committee, members of nomination committee and risk committee could be either executive, non-executive, both. But majority of the members should be non-executive directors. Not equal, majority. If committee is having 7 members, how many should be non-executive?
And four.
4. If committee is having 6 members, how many should be non-executive? No.
Four.
For majority, not equal. In a company, it could be equal. But in a committee, majority, more. Why? We will discuss it on. But the member of remuneration committee and audit committee should all be 100% non-executive directors. Executive directors should not be member of remuneration and audit committee. Why? We will discuss it on. So as per corporate governance course, directors should be having 4 type of committees in the company: nomination committee, remuneration committee, audit committee, and risk committee. The member of the nomination committee and risk committee could be either executive, non-executive, both, but majority should be non-executive. While the member of remuneration and audit committee should all be non-executive directors. Executive director should not be member of remuneration and audit committee.
So I don't get this.
ED should not be there.
I don't get this very well.
The remuneration committee members should all be non-executive director. Audit committee members should all be non-executive director. While nomination committee, executive, non-executive, both could be member, but majority non-executive director. And for the risk committee, majority non-executive director. Mean majority non-executive mean executive, non-executive both. But who should be more? Non-executive. Majority mean more non-executive, less executive. This is board committees, mean directors committees. So there should be 4 type of directors committees. Mean directors need to perform their role by sitting in the committees. What are their role? We are going to discuss now. The role of nomination committee is to oversee nomination of directors. The role of nomination committee is to oversee nomination of directors. What's meant by nomination of directors? Nomination mean director's appointment, reappointment, and removal. Whose director has completed its 3 years, whether he should be reappointed or he should be removed, nomination committee will provide recommendation to the shareholder. If any of the director die during the year or left the company during the year, this means we need to fill its vacancy, its position. Who will fill the position? Nomination. They will call different candidates for the position. They will analyze the CV. They will call for the interview and they will finalize the candidate. If companies are having more executive director, less non-executive director, who will appoint more non-executive director? Nomination committee. Their role is appointment, reappointment, and removal of directors. They cannot have authority to appoint or remove director. They can provide a recommendation to shareholder regarding reappointment or removal. Nomination committee itself cannot remove. They will provide recommendation to shareholder. Only shareholder appoint or remove the director. Nobody else. But shareholder, if they are not aware who should be reappointed, who should be removed, this nomination committee will provide recommendation. But if during the year any director left the company, his position is vacant. So that vacant vacancy, who will fulfill? Nomination committee. Its members should be executive, non-executive, both, but the majority non-executive director. Why majority? So that independent appointments can be made. If executive directors are more, they will appoint any yes man to strengthen their position. So to make sure independent appointment, majority of the members should be non-executive director. And its members should include executive director, not 100% non-executive, should include executive director. Why? To appoint any executive director, only executive director can understand what the skills he should have. That's why this committee member should include executive director, but to make independent decision, majority of the members should be non-executive.
Why independence?
To make independent decision. So what is the nomination committee? What they do? Why there should be majority of non-executive director? We have discussed. As per corporate governance code, there should be a there should be a remuneration committee of 100% non-executive directors. What's the role of remuneration committee? To set independent, to set no, to set independent remuneration policy of the company. To define independent remuneration policy of the company, there should be 100% non-executive directors remuneration committee. They will decide the pay of executive director, managers, employees. They will decide who will get the car, who will get the accommodation, who will get the helicopter, who will get the jet.
That is the role of.
And executive director should not be member of this committee. Why? Otherwise, they will be involved themselves in defining their own pay.
So who would be?
Who will define non-executive director pay? Their pay is a hourly rate. That is according to industry average. There is no debate on it. Normally, the debate is on executive director, manager, and employee pay, why they are getting these salaries, why they are getting these facilities. So who will set that? Who will define that? Independent non-executive directors. So that those people for whom remuneration package is set, they should not be involved in setting their own package. That's why executive director should not be part of remuneration committee. Otherwise, they will be involved in setting their own pay.
So suggest non-executive directors, it's like they are
more powerful. That's why they are in the company. So that independent decision making should be there. To avoid conflict of interest, they are there. So that best for the company should be considered, not best for the directors or management or any other person.
So the non-executives are there.
Remuneration policy mean remuneration policy of the whole company. Mean remuneration package of director, managers, employees, everybody in the company. Who decide remuneration of non-executive director? Board as a whole. And normally they are working on hourly basis, and that hourly rate is as per industry average. Whatever the rate in industry, company will pay them. Can you understand this? The role of nomination committee, the role of remuneration committee. Now we are moving towards the role of audit committee. There should be 100% non-executive director audit committee in the company, and the role of audit committee is to oversee financial matters of the company. This is important committee. Oversee financial matters of the company. What does mean by financial matters? They will review company financial strategies and financial policies. Financial strategies and financial policies. Whether these strategies, these policies are in best interest of the company or not. And who prepare company financial strategies, financial policies? Finance director. And normally finance director is an executive director. So who will review his policies? 100% non-executive directors audit committee. That's why executive director should not be part of audit committee. Otherwise, they will be reviewing their own strategies, their own policies. They will review internal control system of the company, whether it is working effectively or not. They will review financial statements of the company, whether prepared accurately, true and fair or not. They will review financial matters of the company. Financial matters mean they will review financial strategies, financial policies of finance director. They will review internal control system of the company. Who implement internal control system? Executive directors. And they will review financial statements of the company, whether prepared, true and fair or not. They will also monitor the quality of work, and independence of both internal auditor and external auditor. Whether internal auditor, external auditor are performing their work properly or not, mean quality, and they are independent or not, who will check, who will monitor? Non-executive directors audit committee. Because they are checking company financial statements, financial matters. So they are properly checking or not, and they are independently checking or not, who will monitor this? Audit committee. They will ensure they are independent person, because they must be independent. If they are not independent, they are not performing their work properly. The role of audit committee is to provide recommendation to whom? To shareholder regarding appointment, reappointment, removal, and fee of external auditor. Who appoint external auditor? Shareholder. Who can remove external auditor? Shareholder. Who will reappoint external auditor? Shareholder. And if they are appointing shareholder, appointing external auditor, they will set their remuneration. But shareholders, suppose they are foreign shareholder, they don't have knowledge about local good auditors. So who will help them? Non-executive directors audit committee. This is a good firm. Please appoint them as auditor. This firm has performed better work in previous year. Reappoint them again. No, this auditor was involved with executive director in previous year. Remove him. Appoint other. Or this auditor is performing work properly. So this remuneration, this audit fee is justifiable. So approve that. Because external auditor need to check the work of executive directors mean financial statement. So he should be appointed by shareholder. But who will provide recommendation to shareholder? Independent non-executive directors audit committee. If audit committee involve executive directors, they will appoint yes man as external auditor. They will be checking, reviewing their own work, and that will not be independent. That's why audit committee member should all be 100% non-executive director. Executive director should not be involved in remuneration as well as audit committees. So what is the role of a nomination committee? The role of nomination committee is to help the company in appointment, reappointment, and removal of directors. The role of nomination committee is to balance the board. Balance the board means if companies are having more executive, less non-executive, they will appoint more non-executive to balance the board. The role of remuneration committee is to define independent remuneration policy of the company. And the role of audit committee is to oversee financial matters of the company. Audit committee will review financial strategies, financial policies, internal control system, and financial statements. They will monitor the quality of work, independence of both internal and external auditor, and they will provide recommendation to shareholder regarding appointment, reappointment, removal, and fee of external auditor. Now we are moving towards the last committee, that is a risk committee.
So auditor's fee.
Internal auditor is separate, external auditor is separate. Who set external auditor fee? Shareholder, because they have appointed them. But who will provide them recommendation? Non-executive directors audit committee. So risk committee of majority non-executive directors should be there, and the role of risk committee is to define risk management strategy of the business. The role of risk committee is to define risk management strategy of the business. What is meant by risk management strategy? Risk management strategy means to identify business risk, to prioritize the risk, to control risk, and to monitor risk. What is a risk management strategy? To identify business risk, to prioritize risk, to control risk, and to monitor risk. Every business need to identify their business risk on proactive basis. In whatever the risk business will face in future, they need to identify on proactive basis. Not only they need to identify, they need to prioritize the risk according to their impact. Which risk will be having a high priority mean having high impact on the business, and which risk will be having a low impact, mean less priority, so that we can ignore for a while. And how to control each of the risk, they need to define some policies. And not only they need to define some policies, they need to monitor whether the policies to control the risk are working properly or not. And this is the role of risk committee. And who should be the member of a risk committee? Majority non-executive directors, so that company can define independent risk management strategy. And executive director should be part of risk committee. Why? Because in a day-to-day running of operation, what risk business need to face, only executive directors can identify. So that's why executive directors should be included in a risk committee. But to make independent decision, there should be majority of non-executive directors. So according to corporate governance codes, there should be
Non-executive director everywhere in the company.
exactly. So according to corporate governance code, there should be 4 types of board committees. Mean directors need to perform their role while sitting in the committees. Nomination committee is responsible for nomination of directors, mean appointment, reappointment, and removal of director, as well as to balance the board. And to make independent appointment, the majority of the members should be non-executive director. Remuneration committee is responsible for setting independent remuneration policy of the company. And to define independent remuneration policy, all the members should be non-executive directors. Executive directors should not be part of remuneration committee, otherwise they will be involved in defining their own pay. To oversee financial matters of the company, there should be 100% non-executive directors audit committee. And there should be a risk committee. It is not mandatory risk committee is there, but if it is not there, his role must be performed. And who will perform then? Audit committee. What is the role of risk committee? To define risk management strategy. What is the risk management strategy? To identify business risk, to prioritize the risk, to control risk, and to monitor the risk. Shall we forward? So we have discussed some corporate governance codes. Even as per corporate governance codes, these committees should be there. What are their role? These are defined by corporate governance. So let's discuss a small topic called role of non-executive directors. We'll move on break at end of class.
That is brilliant.
There are 4 types of roles that non-executive directors perform in a company. They perform strategic role. They perform people role. They perform risk role. And they perform scrutinizing role. So there are 4 types of role of non-executive director: strategic role, people role, risk role, and scrutinizing role. What is strategic role? Why a non-executive director should be there? Their definition: they share their experience in strategy making of the company, and they challenge short-termism strategies of the executive director. That is their strategic role. They share their experience, their knowledge in strategy making of the business, and they challenge short-termism strategies of the executive director. This is called strategic role. What is the risk role? They help the company To prepare risk management strategy for the business, i.e. to identify risk, to prioritize risk, to control risk, and to monitor the risk. I mean, the role of risk committee is a risk role. What is people role? They are involved in appointment of people like executive directors, reappointment, as well as balance the board. Mean role of nomination committee is called people role, as well as role of remuneration committee. Mean they define remuneration policy of people in the organization. The nomination and risk committee role is people role. What is scrutinizing role? What does mean by scrutinize? What does mean by scrutinize? Investigate, review. The role of audit committee is a scrutinizing role. They oversee financial matters of the company. They review financial strategies, financial policies, internal control system, financial statements, as well as they review the working of internal and external auditor. This is called scrutinizing role. Scrutinize means investigate, review. The role of a remuneration committee is to set independent remuneration policy of the company as well as to review performance related pay of executive directors. Not the word review, we will use evaluate. They evaluate performance related pay of non-executive director, mean they will check whether they have met the target, they are eligible for bonus or not. Because bonus is a part of remuneration. And this part, they evaluate performance related pay of executive director is a scrutinizing role. They set remuneration policy of the company is people role. What is people role? They are involved in appointment of people for the organization, mean nomination committee role, and they set remuneration policy of the company, that is people role. What is scrutinizing role? Audit committee and evaluation of performance related pay of a non-executive director. Scrutinize, they will investigate, they will evaluate performance related pay of non-executive directors. While strategic role is their definition, they share their experience, knowledge in strategy making of the company and challenge short-termism strategies of executive directors. They help the management to make strategies in best interest of the company. They help the company to avoid any conflict of interest. What is risk role? They help the company to define risk management policy, like to identify, prioritize, monitor, control business risk. Let's take a break. After break, we will discuss a few more things. Coming after 15 minutes here.
I was very happy. Mm. Gimana? Papa, jadi ada hal yang gila tuh. Ya, beraber. Nah, beraber. 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 तो ले जाओ ना। बस तो कहने पर हाँ तो फुल पेमेंट करेगा नहीं बस रिटर्न ले जाओ अब कोई विचार है क्यों छू Iya, Wan. Sa akin ko gitu. અરે અરે હમણાં 2 દિવસ પહેલા કિશનનો ફોન આવેલો કે મારે કેટલું એકાઉન્ટ ખોલાવવાનું છે તો હું જોઈએ કે હું મળવો હોય કે એટલે હું પૂછું છું. કઈ નઈ, ચાલો ને જોઈએ હવે. મને ખોટા હાલ લાગે ખાસ.
Aisyah sana baru kemudian saya mau bilang ya saya pergi ibaratkan parents ibu ambang mau ya saya sudah ispanci baru makan akan dan kalau bila dia tidak bawa nak bisa bagaimana itu bila kita tujuan sama sudah saya silam kelas maunya zoom explain saya sama saudara nak turun tinggi kan saya selesai dari ketika nanti kita tinggi next week Friday kasi nandaw sa patay sa tayo sa kasi nagagawa pag isip na dahil minsan view sa mga edges kaya harus pamalik kaya sa mga nag-sa
એ જે કહે છે ને બસ પછી એ સામેથી કહે છે ને એ સામેથી કહી દે કે ભાઈ લઈ જાઓ આવીને તો આપણે લઈ લેવું એમ હા હા કઈ નહીં હા હા ત્યારે યાર ત્યારે András, રાખો મગજ શાંત રાખો મને તો તમને તાર મને અહીંયા ટેન્શન આવે છે યાર ક્યાં છે ખબર નહીં આ વખતે એવું કહે છે ને એટલે ફ્રેન્ડ એવું કહેતો હતો કે સર ત્યાં આવેલા એટલે નિમેશ સર જેની છોકરી અહીંયા છે ને તે આવીને ચાલ્યા પણ ક્યાં ગયા મને ખબર નહીં મને મેસેજ નહીં કર્યો ફોન નહીં કર્યો કઈ નહીં ગયું મને આજે ખબર પડી કે એ તો ગ્રાહકમાં આવીને ગયું ડિસેમ્બરમાં આવેલા 6 મહિના થયા પાછા આવ્યા એમ એક જ ધક્કામાં બધું બતાવી દેજો હા મજા જશે
Strategic Business Leader SBL, we have discussed some corporate governance codes. Non-executive director should be independent. There should be at least half non-executive directors. Chairman CEO should be separate person. Executive director should be reappointed every 3 years. Board should meet regular. Director should implement internal control system. They should review internal control system, and director should have regular communication with the shareholders. And as per corporate governance code, there should be 4 type of committees in the company. And we have discussed 4 role of non-executive directors: strategic role, risk role, people role, and scrutinizing role. Let's move forward. Let's discuss 3-4 small topics, main concepts. Retirement by rotation. Induction program. These are some topics we are going to discuss. CPD, continuing professional development. CPD stands for continuing professional development. What is retirement by rotation? As per corporate governance codes, directors should be reappointed every 3 years. This means the director should retire every 3 years. Mean after 3 years, director will be retired. Company will see whether he is performing better. They will reappoint. Otherwise, he will be removed. This word reappointment is basically retired. Mean should be re-elected every 3 years. This retirement of director should be by rotation. What does this mean by rotation? 1/3 directors should retire on an EGM. Where director appointed are reappointed at AGM by shareholder voting. But this retirement every 3 years should be by rotation. By rotation means maximum 1/3 director should retire at an AGM. Not all. Suppose all directors have completed their 3 years, but all will not be retired. Maximum 1/3 should be retired at an AGM. Remaining have to wait till next AGM or next AGM. Why is that? If all directors retire on an AGM, they all might leave the company to join the competitor company. And this company will be demolished. So that's why this retirement should be rotation. Rotation means maximum 1/3 should retire at an AGM. Remaining will retire on next AGM. If company is having 10 directors, how many should retire at an AGM? 3 or 4 maximum, not all. This is one point of retirement by rotation. The second point of retirement by rotation, every director must retire on first AGM. If company have appointed any director during the year, his retirement reappointment will be on AGM. So he will retire on coming first AGM so that AGM to AGM his 3 years can be counted. If AGM is conducted in March, this director is appointed in August. So at one AGM, he will be having a 2.5 year, and the next AGM, he will be having a 3.5 year. So that's why he should be retired on his first AGM. Retirement should be reappointed formally by shareholder so that AGM to AGM his 3 years can be counted. Let's move towards another topic called induction program. When a company has appointed a new director, his induction training should be there. Induction training means company should provide him knowledge about the business. So that he will be having some knowledge about the business so that he can perform, he can manage business from very first day. If you are not providing him knowledge about the business, he need to get this knowledge by himself.
The direct,
And until he receive this knowledge, he will not be able to perform properly.
the direct,
So every director, when he is appointed, company should provide him induction training. Induction training means business knowledge should be provided to him so that he can start his work. He can perform from the very first day. Because if company do not provide this knowledge to the director, he need to get this knowledge by himself. And if getting this knowledge, he feels some difficulty, he face some difficulty, might be due to this retaliation, he will leave the company and go back to previous company. So company will lose another person. All the recruitment process will be lost. The cost will be lost. I mean, company need to find another person as a director again. So that's why you need to provide the knowledge about the business to the director. You need to provide knowledge about business strategies. Mean what are the strategies of the business? Business objective. What is the business objective so that he should understand the business problem. You need to provide him knowledge about important stakeholder, mean who is the key customer, who are the supplier of the business, who are the banker of the business, and who are the major shareholder of the business. So that he should know to whom he need to deal how. Might be he is having a meeting with major shareholder, but he don't know he is a major shareholder and he didn't behave him properly. So this will create problem for the company as well as for the director. So you should provide knowledge about key customer, who is your key customer, who is your supplier, who are your bank, who are major shareholder, so that he should be having a knowledge about these things properly. You need to explain him his role and responsibility. So that he should be aware. Not only role and responsibility, his boundaries as well. Mean what things are prohibited for him so that he can perform, he can work according to that restricted boundary. He should not work beyond his assigned roles. Who is appointing new director? Nomination committee. So this induction training is the responsibility of, is the role of whom? Nomination committee. They need to provide the knowledge of business to the director. They need to make aware the new director about business strategies, about its objective, and about business risk. They need to provide the knowledge about the key customer, supplier, banker, major shareholder, and they need to define their role, responsibility, and his boundaries properly. You need to introduce the new director. Introduce him to other employee of the company. So that other employees should be aware that he has joined as a newly appointed director. Not only you need to introduce, you need to circulate his CV with other employees so that they should be aware from where he is coming, what is his qualification, what is his previous experience, so that other members should treat him accordingly. If he is coming from any different culture. Who is responsible for this induction training? Nomination committee. If there is no induction training, mean these things are not provided in knowledge of the director, he will be finding it difficult to work with the company. He will be finding difficult to fit in the company. And these things can retaliate, can irritate him, can affect his work. His performance cannot be achievable without these things. There is another topic called CPD, continuing professional development. What does that mean? To refresh the knowledge of directors. Mean company need to refresh the knowledge of directors, both executive as well as non-executive. If there are new advancement in the industry, there are new technologies coming in the industry, there are new laws defined in the industry, those things should be put into knowledge of the directors. How you can put into knowledge of the directors? By managing or arranging some seminars, some coaching classes, so that directors' knowledge should be up to date. If their knowledge is up to date, they will be able to make best practice for the company. If their knowledge is not up to date, they will not be able to making best practice for the company. They might be defining strategies that are below your competitor. Company will not be competing properly in the industry. And this is the responsibility of a company chairman to run the board. He should arrange CPD arrangement for the directors. If any director want to get any extra qualification to enhance his knowledge, company should bear the cost of that qualification. Because if he is having more knowledge, more skill, this will provide benefit to the company. So that's why company need to arrange some seminars, some coaching classes to refresh, to up to date the knowledge of existing director. And this is the responsibility of company chair. Not only executive, non-executive director should also be having CPD arrangements. Because they are experienced people, might be they have studied past qualifications, so their knowledge need to be refreshed as well. Mean they should also play part in the CPD arrangements. They should also be involved in the CPD arrangements.
So like when you have done your ACCA since 10 years,
Obviously, your CPD will be there. I mean, if there is any change in a standard, you should be aware of it.
yeah.
ACCA will send you an email to refresh your knowledge. These are the new changes coming into the standard. These are the new changes coming into the industry. How technology affecting your profession, how technology affecting your industry, you should be aware of it. Otherwise, your knowledge is not up to date. And without having up to date knowledge, you cannot survive, you cannot perform better. So we have discussed three small topics: retirement by rotation, induction program, and CPD. Let's move towards another topic called board structure. Another topic, board structure. There are two types of board structure. One is a single tier board structure.
Should I say?
Yes. Single tier board structure, and other is called two tier board structure. Single tier and two tier. Single tier board structure that we have discussed so far, that is single tier board structure where executive, non-executive both are having equal status, both are having equal position in the company. Both are involved in strategy making, planning of the business, but executive directors are involved in day-to-day running of operation of the business. That is called single tier board structure. Mean both executive and non-executive having equal status in the company, equal powers in the company. There are some countries in the Europe where there is a two-tier board structure. Two-tier board structure mean company is having two different levels of board. One level is called supervisory board, also called corporate board. Yeah, and other is management board. I mean, there are two tier of board. One is a supervisory or corporate board, and other is management or operating board. The supervisory or corporate board is responsible for strategy making, decision making, and management operating board is responsible for implementing strategy, mean day-to-day operation of the business. They are not involved in strategy making. Who are in management board? Executive directors. And who are in supervisory board? Non-executive directors. Mean non-executive directors, corporate board is a superior position as compared to management or operating board. Operating board members are not involved in strategy making, in planning of the business. They are just following the strategies prepared by corporate board. While in single tier, both executive, non-executive having equal status, both involved in strategy making, decision making, though strategy will be implemented by executive, but they both mutually make the decision. While in two tier, non-executive are involved in strategy making, while executive are involved in implementation. And this two-tier board structure will be having some advantages as well as disadvantages. What could be advantages of two-tier board structure as compared to single tier? What could be advantages? You can say better decision making. Because one board has to just focus on decision making, so they will be fully involved in that, so they can make better decision making, even they can make a quick decision because they are mainly involved in decision making. They can react to new innovation in the industry quickly. If non-executive directors are sitting separate than executive director, so there will be more independence in decision making. Because if they are sitting together while making decision, mean executive directors are sitting in front of non-executive director, so might be they can influence a non-executive director. So through this, independence can be affected. But if they are sitting separate, they are not even consulting them. So decision making will be more independent. If executive, non-executive both making a decision mutually, sometime non-executive director have to consider the voice of executive directors, mean best of executive director. And this can affect the best of other stakeholder as well. But if they are sitting separate, so the decision will be best for all the stakeholder, mean more stakeholder concern will be considered. Mean they will look for best for all the stakeholder, not for best for only executive directors or a single party. So these could be the advantages of two-tier board structure. What could be the disadvantages? What could be the disadvantages? There could be clash between executive and a non-executive. We are the full-time employee of the company. We are running the company, and these part-timer are imposing a decision on us. Why we should accept this? So these kind of clashes could arise. There could be some demotivation impact on executive directors. We are the full-timer, we are running the company, and these people are imposing decision on us. Why we should accept this? They might left the company and join any other company where they can be having powerful status. Because here their status is lower than supervisory board. And this two-tier board structure will result into slow down decision making as well. How slow down decision making? If non-executive director means supervisory board have make any decision, that decision need approval from the other board. If other board is not approving that, this means that decision is not finalized yet. So this will slow down the decision making process. If they are sitting together, if there is any concern, there is any issue, they can discuss on the same time and resolve it and finalize the decision. But here they will make the decision, they will shift the decision to them to approve them, to accept them. If they don't accept, this means that decision is not finalized, cannot be implemented. There could be some miscommunication, there could be some communication gap that will slow down the decision-making process. And these advantages of two-tier board structure will be disadvantages of single tier. In a single tier, decision will not be made better because we need to see about the arrangement, about the availability of all the directors. When they are available, then in a meeting, decision will be made properly. Independence could be affected because executive are involved in the decision making. And some stakeholder might be ignored because company need to consider best of our executive director as well because they are involved in the decision making. And these disadvantages are advantages of single tier. Mean there will be no clash between executive and non-executive, both are having equal status. Executive director, non-executive, both are making decisions, so both are motivated, mean they are having their voice in the decision making. And decision will be made quick because both are available, both are sitting together, so they can discuss issues in the same meeting and finalize the issue. Can you understand this? So we have discussed 4 topics: retirement by rotation, induction program, CPD, and board structure. So let's move towards a question, mean how these concepts examiner can test. So we are moving to a question called lump. This question I have shared in Teams. There is a folder called practice questions. So you will find the question as well as answer in a PDF over there. So lump question, there are 3 requirements of the question: requirement A for 10 marks, requirement B for 8 marks, and requirement C for 7 good marks. And this is a 25 marks question. Requirement A for 10 marks. If there are more than one requirement, what we need to do, we need to just read the first requirement and then we will move towards scenario. Read the complete scenario, try to find out the answer for first requirement, we'll attempt the first requirement. And then we will see what is the second requirement. We'll attempt it. And then what is the third requirement? We'll attempt it. Don't read all the requirement before reading the case study scenario. Because if you have read out all the requirements, So while reading the scenario, you will be finding answer for all. And you will not be finding quality answer for even a single requirement. So you are having one mind. So try to focus on one requirement first. So requirement A for 10 good marks. Compare the typical governance arrangement between a family business and a listed company. Can we compare family business and listed company? Family business means that is not listed. What could be the difference? Family business might not be having non-executive director. Mean there is no independent voice in the company that is run by purely by the family members. They are considering their best, might be they are ignoring best for other stakeholder, while a listed business must have non-executive director, independent voice who will ensure companies making decision in best interest of the all. Family business that is not listed, they need to comply very low legal requirements. And there are not much strict laws that they need to follow, but for a listed company, they need to follow some strict law regulation. They need to follow corporate governance code requirement. So that will require some cost as well. Family business will be less formal. Might be the main dominating person in the family. He is imposing the decision. And nobody else is challenging his decision. Might be they decide their decision on a breakfast table. They don't create formal meeting on a regular basis. But listed company need to implement formal system in the business. They need to conduct a formal meeting. They need to run the business in more formal way by following different policies, rules.
Implement.
More formal system in the business. They need to conduct a formal meeting. They need to follow formal rules, policies. So we can make 3 paragraphs. In this paper, you need to see how much is the marks of each requirement. If there are 10 marks, this means we need to write down this answer in a 5 2 marks paragraphs. In one small paragraph for 2 marks. For 2 marks, we are having 3.6 minutes in the exam. For 1 mark, we are having 1.8 minutes. For 2 marks, we are having 3.6 minutes. And in a 3.6 minutes, we can write down 3 to 4 lines only. Obviously, we need to write down on the computer now. On computer, maximum 3 lines or 4. So we need to make practice regarding this, how to write down 3 to 4 lines paragraph for this one concept. This paragraph should not be more than 4 lines. Otherwise, we will not be able to complete our paper on time because we are writing unnecessary. This paragraph should not be just for 1 or 2 lines. Otherwise, examiner will not justify these for 2 points because we haven't justified it. So this we need to make practice. So 3 paragraph we can make between family business and legal requirement, non-executive director independence, and formal. And assess Crispin's view that Lum family will lose the freedom to manage the company as they wish after the flotation. Who is Crispin? What is view? What is lose of freedom? We don't know. For that, we need to read the scenario. But we have made our mind like we can make 3 paragraph difference between one is for legal requirement, one is for non-executive directors, and one is for formal and informal. So remaining two paragraph we can make for this assess Crispin's view. Mean Crispin's view we will assess into different paragraph. What are Crispin's views? Who is Crispin? We don't know. So let's read the scenario. Some companies are family business that has been wholly owned and controlled by Lum family since 1920. The current chief executive, Mr. Gustav Lum, is the great grandson of the company's founder and has himself been in post as the CEO since 1998. And currently we are in 2012. From last 12 years, Mr. Gustav Lum is CEO of the company. Because the Lum family wanted to maintain a high degree of control, they operated a two-tier board structure. In two-tier board structure is working in the company. 4 members of the Lum family comprise the supervisory board, and the other 8 non-family directors comprise the operating board. In family member are sitting in corporate board, making strategy, and for day-to-day running of the operating board, they have appointed some executive directors. Despite being quite a large company with 5,000 employees, Lum company never had any non-executive directors because they were not required in privately owned companies in the country in which Lum company was situated. So this we have discussed as a difference. Now they need to appoint independent non-executive director that will challenge their short-term decisions that was not challenged before. The 4 members of the Lum family valued the control of the supervisory board to ensure that the Lum family's wishes, being the only shareholder, were carried out. But now they will not be able to implement their own wishes. They need to consider best for all. This also enabled decision to be made quickly. Might be they were taking a decision on breakfast table. But now formal meeting should be there to decide on certain matters. So decision making process might be slowed down now. Through formality, it will slow down the decision making. Because we need to conduct formal meeting. And to conduct formal meeting, first you need to make sure the availability of all the board members. When they will be available, then the meeting will be conducted. Previously might be what the father said, all have accepted that. So without the need to take everything before a meeting of the full board. So this was previous routines. Starting in 2008, the 2 tiers of the board met in a joint session to discuss a flotation, issuing public shares on the stock market, they are moved towards listing the company on stock exchange of 80% of the company so that they can sell 80% of the shares to the general public. The issue of the family losing a control was raised by CEO's brother, Mr. Crispin Lum. This is the Crispins whose view we need to assess. Assess mean evaluate. Evaluate mean positive, negative, both things we need to talk about. So the issue of the family losing control was raised by CEO's brother, Mr. Crispin Lum. He said that if the company became listed, the Lum family would lose the freedom to manage the company as they wished, including supporting their own long-held values and beliefs. It might be before they were just focusing on long-term decision making because whatever the company's growth that will remain in the family. But now some investors will invest into the company being a shareholder. Some could be having a long-term perspective. Some could be investing for short-term profit. So company need to focus on short-term as well as long-term strategies, not only long-term. Because to give back any return to the short-term investor, you need to make some short-term strategies so that current profit should be maximized to give maximum return to the short-term investors. So this will be the change. Mean short-term decision will be involved. These values, he said, were managing for the long term and adopting a paternalistic style of management. What is paternalistic style of management? Authoritative style of management. Whatever they want, they impose on everybody. You have to follow this because we are the owner. But now 80% will be external stakeholder, only 20% holding will be your. Now this authoritarian style will not be able to implement. You need to listen to the other. What other wants, you need to implement that. You cannot implement your own personal wishes. So for this paternalistic style of management, we can make one paragraph. We have completed our answer of 5 paragraphs. Let's read. Other directors said that the new listing rules that would apply to the board, including compliance with the stock market corporate governance codes of practice, would be expensive and difficult to introduce. So we have discussed what is the difference between family and listed company, and we have assessed, evaluate the Crispin's views as well. There is further information. The flotation went ahead in 2011. In order to comply with the new listing rules, LUM company took a number of non-executive directors and formed a unitary board. Might be they are operating in UK, and in UK, according to corporate governance codes, all the directors should be having equal legal status. Mean company should implement unitary board. So now they are moving towards, after listing, unitary board. A number of problems arose around this time with the non-executive director feeling frustrated at the culture and management style of LUM company. Mean though family members still want to manage the business like in previous. They don't want to listen to others. What they want, whatever we are saying, everybody should follow. But now, by inclusion of non-executive director, you cannot do that like that. They will challenge your strategies. And might be they are not challenging their strategies properly. That's why non-executive directors are frustrated with the system of the company. Why they are frustrated? Might be their induction training has not been done. Mean business knowledge was not provided to them. Nobody informed them like previously it was family business, it was running on two-tier board structure. Now they have moved towards listing business, and now they are moving towards single tier, and shifting from one system to another requires some time. You cannot shift one system to other quickly. Mean might be their induction training is not. That's why they are feeling frustration. While the LUM family member found it difficult to make the transition to managing a public company with the unitary board, even they don't know how to manage this company. Might be their CPD is not done. Their knowledge need to be refreshed. They need to be trained how to work in single tier. What is a single tier? In single tier, executive, non-executive, both involved in decision making. Though executive will implement decision, but they both involved in decision making. Independent decision making need to be done. In their CPD might not be done. Gustav Lum said that it was very different from managing the company when it was privately owned by the Lum family. The human resource manager said that an effective induction program for NEDs and some relevant continuing professional development CPD for existing executive might help to address the problems. So they have used the word CPD induction program. We have attempted requirement 1A now. Now we are moving towards requirement B.
So what of the process
Assess Christmas views these two paragraphs. Mean before company was focusing on long-term belief, long-term objective, like maximizing business wealth. But now, as they have sold 80% of the shares to general public, some of the investor, mean shareholder, could be of short-term perspective, who just have invested to get short-term benefit like dividend profit. So now company need to focus on short-term as well as long-term strategies, not only long-term. And second, they were running the company on paternalistic style of management, mean authoritative style, imposed decision making. But now with the inclusion of non-executive director, they will not be able to do that. Even now, the decision will be approved by the other shareholder as well. You need to consider their voice as well, what they want. Part B of the question for 8 good marks. Assess the benefits of introducing the induction program for the new NEDs. 8 marks. This means 2 paragraph we can make. They are feeling frustrated. They are not able to manage their role properly. So if they had induction training, they might be aware about the culture of the company. Mean before it was family business mean there was imposed decision making by main family member and everybody was following as a son. But now they have moved towards listing company. So it will take a time to change behavior of the family member. And non-executive director should be some patience, having some patience, mean give some time to the family member so that they can accept the new system and then they will be able to perform their role with them properly as well. Culture. What about other? Through induction training, they need to be aware about the history of the business. Mean when this company was started, who started the company, and until so many years it was run as a two-tier board structure under one family imposed decision making. Now they have changed a short period ago. So it will take time to implement a new system because they are moving towards unitary system now. For the first time, they have appointed non-executive director and they don't know about the value and importance of non-executive director that they can contribute to the company. So non-executive director should explain their importance, should explain their value, and should encourage them to move towards independent decision making. So these things should be provided to the non-executive director through induction program. 4 marks. So assess the benefit of introducing induction program for the new NEDs and require CPD for the existing executive at lump after the flotation. Now we need to make 2 paragraph for CPD, importance of CPD for existing director. Through CPD, continuing professional development, existing director will be aware about the unitary board structure, how it runs. In unitary, everybody is having equal legal status. So this should be put into the knowledge of the family members, especially so that they give importance to the non-executive director. They should consider their voice. They should involve them in the decision making freely. What else through CPD we can do? Not only unitary board structure, about corporate governance rules. There should be some coaching about them. Mean what are the rules of corporate governance that company need to follow? Why company need to follow so that they can understand those rules and they should implement in the company. Mean the single tier board structure knowledge should be provided to them and the corporate governance codes knowledge should be provided to them because now company has been listed on the stock exchange. unitary board structure. The knowledge of unitary board structure should be provided to them through CPD. Can we attempt this for 8 marks? 4 paragraphs, 2 for induction of entities and 2 for CPD of existing directors. Part C of the question for 7 marks. Distinguish between unitary and two-tier board. Put a paragraph of the difference between unitary and two-tier board structure. Single-tier board structure is where both executive, non-executive are having equal legal status. Both are involved in decision making, though executive implement the decision. Two-tier board structure is a board structure where there are 2 levels of board. One is corporate supervisory board, NEDs who are involved in decision making. The other level is called management or operating board of executive director who are involved in implementation of the strategies. For 2 marks, we can prepare this paragraph. For remaining 5 marks, see and discuss the difficulties that Lum family might encounter when introducing a unitary board. What difficulties they will face while moving from two-tier to single-tier. What difficulties they face? In a single-tier,
They are in management. They are
there will be
equal position of all directors.
equal position of executive, non-executive director. This means they need to give importance to the non-executive director. They need to give importance or value to non-executive directors. They need to listen to them that they were not listening before because there were no non-executive director before. They need to appoint a non-executive director to balance the board. And they now being a listed company in unitary board, what they need to do, they need to implement board committees as well. And giving some authority, mean delegating some authority to board committees regarding their role so that everything should be performed in a separate committee. What else difficulty they need to face? Regarding advantages of single tier, two tier. What could be the disadvantages of single tier that they need to face now? They need to consider more stakeholder. So more stakeholder concern will be there. Before that, they might be having just focusing on best for the family members because only family members were involved in decision making. Now, by including a non-executive director, even influence of external shareholder, they need to consider best for all. More stakeholder concern they need to consider, which they were not considering before.
Cost is also increasing.
Cost will also, they need to bear some cost of non-executive director as well as formal meetings. NEDs as well as meeting cost they need to bear now. So we can write down 3 paragraphs. 1 paragraph for the difference and 3 other paragraphs, altogether 4 paragraph for 7 marks. Is that fine? The answer is given with the question. Please try to read out the answer first and then attempt it by yourself so that we will be properly prepared how to answer 10 marks requirement, how to answer 8 marks requirement, how to answer this kind of 7 marks requirement. And this is all SBL. We don't need to write down any cramming, just we need to take our knowledge about a topic and apply that knowledge on a scenario. According to that knowledge, we need to answer according to the scenario. This is SBL. So that's it for today. I need attempted answer of this question in next class. proper answer in your laptop in Word format. From next class onward, please bring your laptop with you. Bring your laptop with you with attempted question answers. See you next class.